Hello everybody, welcome to Health Hackers episode 22. I am Gemma Evans, I'm a journalist here in the UK, and this is my series devoted to getting inside the minds of some of the most pioneering people in health and wellness. I'm recording this week's episode at the headquarters for the NFL in London because my guest, if you're watching the video episode, you can see her smiling next to me. My guest is Derrick Morgan. She has been described as the chef turning an NFL team vegan. Not only is she an expert in plant-based cooking, but she's also the wife of Tennessee Titans player Derrick Morgan. And she's with us for the next 30 minutes discussing all things plant-based. Charity, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Here's where I want to begin, right? On your Instagram profile, you describe yourself as a Plegan chef.
Let's get that out the way early, right?
What does it mean to be a Plegan?
Being a Plegan is my own word that I came up with, just Xing out animal products and dairy and eggs out of your diet without all of the pressure of saying you're vegan. And I came up with that word because it was very hard, and I didn't want to fit in this box of this vegan lifestyle. And people were like, well, you can't call yourself vegan because you guys play with a pigskin, and, you know, your player has on, yeah, right, and your player, there's a guy, he has on leather shoes, and it's like, I didn't want to get picked apart. I wanted a safe place for players to feel, and not even players, for people to feel like, hey, let me try this no meat, no dairy thing without all the scrutiny. It's very encompassed, inviting, and all-inclusive.
Who went Plegan first? Was it you or Derrick?
Derrick.
Tell us the story. How did this happen?
Derrick. Everyone thinks that, I guess because women have so much influence over a man's diet and how they eat, everyone's like, oh, so how did you get Derrick? I'm like,
Oh, like,
no,
it was your idea, you made him do it.
No, it's the other way around. So Derrick, I have to give you the backdrop.
Do it. I want to hear it. Yeah.
So the backdrop of an athlete. Athletes are always looking to improve who they are, even at your top. Even Michael Jordan, at the top of his game, is going to look into how can he be better. You don't just stay here as an athlete plateau. If you're listening, you just don't stay here. You're always looking to get better. So for Derrick, he was talking to a nutritionist and was like, you know, I just want my energy levels higher and I want to feel better. I'm going into my 8th year in the NFL, which by far he's already broke the mold. Like, the statistics of an NFL player is no longer than 3 years, I think it is.
Oh, really? Because we don't know much about that here in the UK.
Yes.
8 years,
yes.
wow.
I can educate you on a little bit of backdrop of football. It's 3 years. So Derrick already broke that mold when he became 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. And he was like, I'm going to keep going. As long as my body's willing, I'm going to go. So how can I improve my energy, my health? And she said, hey, have you ever thought about giving up meat and dairy? He was like, no. Why would one do that?
This is a nutritionist, I
Yeah, a nutritionist. Yeah. And Derrick he's a scholar. He's a very smart guy. People don't know this about him. He's like a 4.0 student. He retrieved his MBA while he was in the NFL. He did a program during the NFL season, so he's just a very smart guy. So whenever you tell him to do something, he's just not going to do it. He's going to research it, and then research it some more. After all that research, he said, okay, I'm going to try this. And then looking into that whole spectrum of plant-based, he discovered that a lot of elite athletes were doing this. Like, Tom Brady eats plant-based most of the time. And these amazing athletes were just giving up meat or have been doing it for a long time. So he tried it, and he didn't do it to say, hey, I'm going to be plant-based for the rest of my life. He did it and loved the way he felt. And I jumped on with him. I said, hey, if it's good enough for you, it's good enough for me. And if it's good enough for me after my research, it's good enough for my children as well. So we did it as a family.
So how did you go about changing? Did you just go, right, that's it, cut out all meat and dairy? Or were you like, we'll do it gradually?
Derrick did it cold turkey because the mind of an athlete is not the same as me. I am the mind of most of your viewers and your listeners. I can relate to you people. I'm not an alien. My husband is. He is cold turkey. You can say, hey, I bet you can't do this for 30 days. And he's the kind of person that's like, yes, I can. And easy. They're so disciplined and so committed. And to play at this level, to get to an athlete, you have to be that.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, it was very easy for me. Weird, but it was easy for me to give up beef, chicken, turkey, bacon. The hard thing for me was seafood. I love my salmon. I was loving crab and shrimp and cheese. That was so hard for me. So I just gradually did it. And then I just got to, I think it was like week 2. I was like, screw it. I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to go wholeheartedly with this. And I did it. And I did it to support my husband. And I also did it because I struggled with digestion. And weirdly enough, it cured my digestion issues. And I didn't know that was the cure for it.
That's really interesting, because some people say that with a plant-based diet they get a bit more gassy sometimes, and then that bothers them from a digestive point of view. But you found the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, then it could be the fiber. It can be so many different things. Like, people actually have food sensitivities, and is it the vegetables, or are they doing too much carbs, and they're having a lot of pastas? And it's the gluten that is, because if I eat too much gluten, I'm bloated. Like, my body hates it. So you just gotta really...
And everyone's got such a unique microbiome.
Yes.
You know, there are all these different kind of factors. So what kind of foods were you cooking for Derrick in the early days then, and I guess still now? Like, what would be a breakfast?
Okay, for him, he loved like omelets, and I would make spinach and cheese omelets. And, you know, if I made chili the night before, I would make a chili cheese omelet and some roasted potatoes, hash brown. He loves pancakes. And I would do different flavors of pancakes, sweet potato pancakes, and different French toast. And
then with the Plegan diet, what were you using instead of eggs and cheese?
So one of my favorite, I do this like little medley of like sweet potatoes, black beans, and whatever I have. And it's like, and I put bell peppers, onions, and chipotle peppers, and I season it with chili powder, and it's like this like nice little Mexican flavor and cumin. And then I'll make some tofu eggs, and I'll make that like this big scramble, and I'll make breakfast tacos out of that.
Tofu eggs?
Yes, you can. So tofu eggs is you take tofu, you press out all of the water, and then you crumble it in the pan, and you're cooking it with, you could do bell peppers and onions. You put chili powder. You could add nutritional yeast. It gives it that nice, like creamy, cheesy taste. And this is the key. It's black salt. It's sulfuric salt. It's salt that has a sulfur smell, and it gives it an egg smell.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the sulfur smell.
Yeah, it's nak. It's Indian for nak salt, but it's just black sulfur salt. You put that in it, nutritional yeast, and like a half a teaspoon of turmeric. It literally turns it and looks like scrambled eggs. It's yellow.
Really hungry.
It looks. Look, if your eyes say that it's eggs and your palate says it's eggs, it's eggs.
So tell me about the way that the diet then affected Derrick's performance, because it must have been good because you were sold on it.
Yes. Increased energy, way better sleep, and lower inflammation. So inflammation is that thing. If you have high inflammation markers, whether it's an injury, whether it's a disease, whether it's cancer, wherever there's inflammation, and I'm not a doctor, let me quote this, I am not a doctor. Yeah. I am, hands down, I am a student of life that I just love information and I dive into it. I just love information. So when you research illnesses, sicknesses, bronchitis, whatever it may be, it is inflammation of that of that area in your body. So when you bring down inflammation, you're reducing that illness, you're reducing that cancer, you're reducing injury to that area. Now, hands down, the NFL and playing American football, it's 100% guaranteed injury sport. And
so
people don't
they're
understand
always
that.
continuously inflamed. They must be. The
Yeah.
training, the
Yeah.
injuries.
You're always hurt. My husband is dealing with an injury right now. But you're lowering those chances. And even when you do get hurt, your recovery, and you got to think about this. Like when you're tearing muscle, like, and there are studies that like 2 guys can have the same injury, but the guy that ate plant-based, the injury is less, the tear is less, and you recover faster. Your body's healing faster.
Now, how did this then spread to the rest of the team? Because how many NFL Tennessee Titans players are you currently cooking for?
15.
15 of them. Okay, right. So
Word
got out, and they were like, "We want some of this."
So what happened, and I would have more, and I was just talking about this earlier. Like the saddest thing is the way I lose a player is like a sad way of how I lose them, and it's usually from an injury that takes them out for the entire season, or they get released from the team. And I literally had 4 of those this year. So I had 2 releases in the last 3 weeks. 2 of my players got released, and then during camp, 2 of them had injuries.
But in the early days when Derrick and you were giving this diet a go, how did it spread to his teammates?
So Derrick's a very introvert guy. He's not like me. He's not like going to fill up the room and talk to anyone. I am. I love to talk to people.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I love people. He's kind of like really quiet, and he kind of is one of those people that lead by example. So it wasn't like, hey, look at my salad. Hey, look at my vegan enchiladas that I'm eating. It was just like, hey, this is what I'm eating. And guys were like, hey, what is that? Like, bro, that smells really good. What are you eating? Oh, this is a vegan lasagna my wife made. Oh my God, that smells so good. He told me that he remembers a time cutting a burger 8 ways or 4 or 8 ways to, hey, or try this. And he got like a little piece that he literally was just sharing and showing people like, this is what I'm eating. They were like, oh my God, that's so good. Like, could your wife make me one too? And then it started that way, and it started with 3 players. And to this day, I love those 3 players because they actually set the tone for other guys to want to try. So those 3 players went to other players like, oh, okay, all right, I'll try that. From 3 to players to 5, players of 5 to 8 to 10 to 11 to 12, and it just kept growing.
Did the team have catering staff already in position?
Yes.
So were they like, who's this wife taking our business away?
I don't know what they were like, and I didn't care. I didn't care. I literally am one of those people. I don't care. I did this for my husband. And then I'm just a loving, compassionate, giving person back. I mean, my name's Charity. I mean, I have to give back. And when I did it for helping people. I didn't think about what the team thought, any of that. It was just like, look, I'm providing a service that is helping guys, and look, maybe you guys will benefit off of it as the team. And hey, we did pretty well last season. Oh my God, well, that was the first time we went to the playoffs in 15 years.
Yeah, let's talk about this. So the team made the playoffs for the first time in nearly 15 years.
Yes.
And how long had they been on your diet at that point?
That was their first season.
Wow.
So this is season 2 of the guys eating that way. And I'm not saying, oh, they went to the playoffs because of me, but my whole objective is to show people I did not hurt them. It didn't hurt them, and who knows, did it make them better?
Well, exactly.
No one can say.
No one could say that your diet didn't take them to the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a big question.
But I'm not that kind of person that's going to say, oh, they went because of me.
It was because of me. No, other people can say that for you. Do you think then that you are now sold on a plant-based diet? Like, this is it forever now for you and Derrick and your family. And what do you have to consider when you are putting together a meal for an athlete? It's not just like a meal for like that I would eat. It's got to be I'm guessing, high level of protein? Because a lot of people
Yes.
make that assumption that, but athletes have to eat animal protein, but you're proving that they don't.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you kind of make up a plate or a dish?
So it is done by creativity first, which is weird. And then I add in various amounts of protein, and I add lots of it. And people are like, protein? You're not eating a meat. So what do you mean, protein? I'm cutting the middleman out, okay? The strongest animals of the world are elephants, rhinos, and gorillas. I mean, pound for pound, weight for weight, strength for strength, those are the strongest animals of the world. And what are they? They're vegan. They're plant-based.
I've never heard that analogy before, but it just does seem really logical.
It's so logical. Think about it. Like a gorilla is super defined. You could see the muscles on a gorilla, and they're not going around eating steaks. They're eating plants. And when you see studies show you that it's not the animal that has its protein. The animals, like cows, which are plant-based, are getting their protein from the actual vegetables that they're eating, the grass and the plants. So we're cutting the middleman out. And so when I'm building these bowls and these meals for them, it's calorie dense too. That's important. Especially during camp. People are like, oh, do you ever care about calories? No, these guys are burning 8,000 plus calories a day.
Wow. So
like,
what's camp? Is that training camp?
Training camp.
Okay,
where
right.
they're just working out all day long. They're training all day long. Physically in the hottest days of summer.
Yeah.
It's humid. They're just, like, I've been able to wring out my husband's t-shirt before. Because that's how wet he is and just feel of perspiration. So they're burning a lot of calories. So that's during that time of year, I don't care about calories. They don't care about calories. They just want to eat. That's when they can get 2 and 3 desserts a week. But now, throughout the season, we want to make sure they make their weight, because in the NFL, every guy has a weight class, which people don't understand.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
So I think my husband's weight class is like anywhere between 260 to 267. I want to say Derrick's is. I know it changed at some point. So you don't want it to make it too fattening and too calorie dense, like pasta every day, to where they're checking in as overweight, because that costs them.
Yeah.
Like they actually get fined for being too overweight.
And with different players,
Yeah.
you're having to tailor each dish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that as example, I had a receiver on the team, and he wanted to be plant-based, but he wanted low carbs. So you're like, what does that look like? So I would do, like, on burger days for them, he would have his In-N-Out style burger, but instead of all this, the vegan hamburger bun, I'd wrap it in lettuce. Or I'll do a burger bowl. It'll be mixed greens, and it'll have all these salad components with a big, huge patty on top with the burger sauce, the caramelized onions, and he loved it. So it was making a couple of variations for a couple players, because
Yeah.
your receivers and your offense guys are usually a little smaller than your defense guys. Defense guys are bigger. They would take that same burger with the bun and make it a double.
Yeah. Yum.
Double burger, double cheese.
I've had all kinds of guests on the show who have been, we've had another vegan. She was an ultra marathon runner, record breaking. We've had ketogenic. One lady was carnivore, Michaela Peterson. She eats only beef and found that has got rid of her autoimmune disorders. We've had vegetarians, flexitarians, and whenever I have a guest on, they talk about their diet, and the common thread is that they think that is what has worked for them. Do you think that everybody is so different and unique that
I do.
But do you also think that plant-based diets can work for everyone?
Yes, I do.
And so then, do you think that is because they're cutting out the animal products? Like, is the animal product the problem? Or do you think it's just the plant-based living and cutting out junk food and other stuff they might have been eating before? That's the secret.
Yeah, it is a double fold.
Is it the meat that's the bad thing?
I've seen people lose weight by just taking out the junk food, and they still eat meat. So I want to be very transparent and honest about this question, because, I mean, that's just me. But a lot of, and when people say, oh, I'm trying keto, and keto is done great for me, I lost so much weight. And it's like, yeah, you're going to lose weight. You're going to lose weight on keto. That's no question. But what else are you losing or giving up? Because you're you're upping like all this meat, and what quality meat are you getting? And what is it doing to your arteries? So it's different ways to look at it. Like, I've read studies that keto's good, but it's not good long term. And it's not good for people that are over a certain age, because it will actually, after a certain age, our arteries are more clogged than normal. And it's not able to like flush out all that fat. So, I mean, it's such a controversial.
There are arguments either side.
Yeah, right? And I don't subscribe to arguments. I don't subscribe to contests.
It's a great way to be.
I know. That's why I'm Plegan.
So keep your argument to yourself.
Because
I won't get involved.
Yeah.
It's a great way to be.
Because you know what? I'm never gonna win an argument, but you can win facts, and I guess there's certain facts out there.
I guess you can win what works for you as well.
Yeah.
The guest I had on the other day, he's an author over here in Britain. He's a nutritionist. He was vegan for 20 years. And then at some point, he just started to not feel so great anymore. So then he started eating fish and meat again. And it's just a complete choice. And he was like, you know, it wasn't that he wanted to give up being vegan. He was like, it just felt right for me at the time. And things just change. And I guess what works for you is the most important thing. When you are making meals for these athletes, do you have to, or are you told by nutritionists to kind of include certain nutrients, or do you have to think about B12 supplements, or do you just go with your creative streak?
I go with creativity, and then, like, let's just say it's pumpkin season, and I want to make something with pumpkin. I mean, we already know, like, pumpkin is high in beta carotene, and it has a lot of its own, you know, nutritional dense, you know, properties, but I go with the creativity, and then I go, okay, so how can I add, you know, more nutrients and more healthy fats? And, oh, I'm going to throw some avocado in it. Oh, I'm going to add some hemp seeds to that. Oh, I'm going to make that paste out of lentil paste. I'm going to make my own, you know, I'm going to take nuts and I'm going to puree them and make a cheese sauce. Like, I'm slowly adding and creativity. I'm such an unorthodox chef. If you watch me in the kitchen, I might make other chefs like, that's not the way to do it. No, this is my way to do it.
I want to add that you are a professional chef.
I am a professional
trained chef. Yeah.
But I've created my own mold. I've created my own box, because my box doesn't have a lid, because I don't believe in a box. I believe that you're always growing, you're always changing, and that's why I love the plant-based diet for me, and for me as a chef, because it made me so much more creative. It was like, instead of making buffalo chicken and buffalo cauliflower, what else can I buffalo? If you look on my page, I started making buffalo vinaigrette. Like, literally, like, I can make a buffalo vinaigrette. I can make buffalo broccoli. I would even, like, do buffalo cheese. It made me go, what else
buffalo
can I?
Anything.
Buffalo anything, vegetable anything. I'll fry it, I'll roast it, I'll steam it, I'll saute it, I'll puree it. I'll do anything. Because you think about the meats. Most people eat a combination of what? Most people, 4 to 5 meats?
Well, across a week?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of repetition. Because once people find like a chicken that they like or a certain type of steak, I mean, I'm guilty of it myself.
4 to 5, right? How many meats you eat? About 4 to 5?
A week?
Yeah.
I would say 4 to 5 across 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Yeah.
Right. But if I told you that just to think about a different shift and not what you're giving up, but what you're gaining, and I told you I don't even remember the number. It's like over 22,000 known plants that you can eat to mankind. It's like, oh, instead of putting myself in this little box of what can't I eat, why don't I open up my mind to what can I eat? And let's start exploring. And that's how I am as a person and as a chef. Let me go to the Asian market. What is this? What's a soursop? Oh, jackfruit. Like, start educating yourself on things that are out there that you never knew about.
And we're hearing so much more about how great diversity is for the gut microbiome. Like eating more different kinds of foods is so good for your gut health.
Which is your second brain.
Yeah, and which is largely what controls immunity in the body as well.
Absolutely.
So it's all good stuff, good to hear. So going back to the cooking for the athletes, how many times a day do you have to feed them?
So every day
Talk about them like they're animals, feed them, but how many times a day do they eat?
So whenever they're in the facility, they're eating. I'm sending them a meal. I didn't get to cook for them yesterday because I was on the plane, and I left on a day before them. I left on Tuesday. They left yesterday.
We should say that you're here from Nashville with the team. So you're here cooking for them.
No, I'm not here cooking. They're here, and they're actually 45 minutes away from here, traffic. So I'm just here. They're
going to be missing your food though.
I hope so. I know my husband is.
Sounds like they need it.
He's like, oh my God, I need your food right now.
Oh.
So
yeah, you were saying how many times a day are you
So if they're in the facility, I'm making them a lunch. And I drop it off every day, freshly made. It's not like no meal plan. Then I'm making a week's worth of meals and I'm dropping it off for the week. Every day they get a fresh meal. And by the time they get it, it's 9 times out of 10, it's still hot. It's still warm. It just came out the oven. I cut it and I plated it and I threw it, jumped in the car and delivered it.
You're cooking this in your own kitchen?
Yeah, but I have a very high-end kitchen.
Okay.
And
I can imagine. Professional chef.
Yeah, I renovated my kitchen to accommodate how I want to cook. So I have like a whole wolf range and double oven. My oven fits a full-size sheet pan, like all that. I have a, industrial refrigerator, everything.
So before a game, is there like a window where they're not allowed to eat? Is it like, we have to have a meal and then 3 hours before kickoff or?
No, every player's different. My husband is really simple. He if it was up to him, he'll probably eat like a breakfast burrito. I'll make like those tofu eggs, or I'll make chickpea eggs out of chickpea flour. It looks like scrambled eggs and like different, I could add chickpeas, black beans, any kind of beans, some greens, some hummus. Like, remember those layers of protein that you can add? Like, all these different things that I'm saying is protein. So he's getting different components of it. Big burrito.
Will that be like a few hours before the game?
Yeah. You don't want to eat too close to the game because they're nerves. They are human beings. They have nerves. They get nervous for the game. They don't want to feel too sluggish. They want to be light on their feet. So I remember dropping off about 9 a.m., hit the game, starts probably about 12. Okay. So, you could, about a 3-hour window.
Yeah. And have you had any interest from rival teams who are like,
I actually
what's
have.
The secret?
I have. I've had people reach out to me and ask me, is there another you in Los Angeles? How can I find another you in New York? And it's just so sad because it's only one of me. I'm a one-man business. Like, people get mad because I don't post recipes as often. I'm like, you have no idea. And I'm still a mother, too. So
I have a lot going on.
Yeah, I have a lot going on. And that's my next goal.
So what is next for you? I mean, you're gonna have to expand. You're gonna have to release.
I want a cookbook.
You gotta do a cookbook.
I want a cookbook so bad. Like, that's my goal. I have a cookbook. I already have my recipes and everything. I started formulating my recipes and typing it all. I registered my name, and now I just got to walk into the publishing world and find out how to get it out there.
You will do this. And can anybody look you up and look at your recipes? Where can
I'm on Instagram. It's my most utilized platform, and it's just at Chef Charity Morgan. And I am on there for nothing more but inspiration. Look on there and see, how can you eat? How can you swap out some things and eat more like a plant-based diet, and how every single meal that I'm posting is things that I actually make for the guys or my family. Yeah. So it's an athlete eating it. So it's not like something I'm just making for myself. I'm making it, they're eating it.
This is how to eat like an NFL athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And just remind us again of your Instagram and Twitter.
So my Instagram is at Chef Charity Morgan, CHEF, Charity, CHARITY, Morgan, MORGAN. I have a website, which is www.chefcharitymorgan.com, and I do have recipes on there.
Okay.
And I started chef's tips, things to make things easier for
Yeah,
you,
little
and
tips.
little tips. But I'm gonna be honest, it's been like neglected because I've been really busy.
You got so much going on.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you luck and the
Thank
team
you.
this month
We
over
need
here in the
it.
UK.
Thank you.
If you want to get the show notes to this episode and a link to Charity's website with those recipes, head over to healthhackers.uk. And I'll speak to you all again next time. Thank you. Bye.